Hello, I'm Amy Hickman. I'm doing this for TSP 302, and this is a piece of Student First Classrooms. It's based on differentiated instruction. I think the first question was, what is differentiated instruction? And that's where we're going to start. Or not. There we go. So the introduction. What is differentiated instruction? Differentiated instruction is, this is the actual definition, an approach whereby teachers adjust their curriculum and instruction to maximize the learning of all students. I like the version that was on the Iris Learning. As Carol Ann Tomlinson points out, that one of her previous students had said back to her, it is a sequence of common sense decisions made by teachers with student first orientation. To me, that just says that it only makes sense to use differentiated instruction because that is what is going to make the student's education better. I mean, and like it says in there, it's only common sense to try to do what's best for the student. That's what we're there for. We're teachers. The second question was, how do teachers differentiate instruction? They do this by tiered content, providing a variety of materials. This would be such as the textbooks and that are adjusted for students' appropriate level. That could be more than one textbook, or even supplemental materials to help students build on what they already know. To me, a variety of materials is using, depending on what age, I think of 4th, 5th, 6th graders, different, like higher vocabulary words, just anything that relates to what they're learning just to a higher degree. Different presentation styles, a variety of media in different formats suited to students' learning styles. One of my favorite things that I've been learning about this through a few semesters now is doing just like this, a presentation for the students. They can watch it, and the ones that need to learn by watching, they can literally watch it over and over and over until they get it. Some can take notes on it. Standing up, giving a lecture, some people take some from that. Other things that the children can act out, do like a little skit for. All the different types of presentations. Scaffolding, adding different levels of support basing off of prior knowledge to help master skills. Obviously, that's exactly what it says. It's just like a ladder. It's scaffold. It just keeps building up. It starts at the lowest of what they already know and then just keep building on that. Learning contracts, a mutually agreed upon set of terms for students to complete their learning, helping them stay organized and on task. And compacting. To do this, teachers can help students that have a high degree of prior knowledge on the subject to test out and continue even higher learning. 3. How do teachers prepare their students and classrooms for differentiated instruction? Well, in this I called it prep work. The first step is having a good base for classroom behavior management. There must be clear guidelines to make all of this work together. In other words, if you don't have students that are going to cooperate, then this isn't going to work. There's going to be too much going on for kids to be running around and getting into trouble. So that would be the first step, is having a good base to make sure everybody understands what is expected of them and what they're going to do. The second would be the communication with the students and their parents. Obviously, everybody wants to know what's going on, and keeping everybody in the loop is a good way to keep everyone happy. Then organizing and setting up a classroom. I have to me, the perfect classroom is plenty of floor space for everybody to get together on the floor and do things and work in a group. And then bulletin boards and whiteboards all over the walls, so more than one group can use, if they need to pin up something to pay attention to or to concentrate on while they're working on projects, or if they need to write stuff down, then they have all the whiteboards right there. Material storage, to me this is tons of bins for turning in paperwork, storing extra, like we were talking about earlier, the extra supplies for doing higher tiered work or for more knowledge. So all this has to be kept organized. That way people aren't like reaching over another group to grab something out of this drawer or that drawer. It needs to be around the room and organized and ready for what's going to go on that day. And what does the differentiated instruction look like in the classroom? This is the actual, the closest example I could find of what I'm talking about the chalkboards and the whiteboards. And then you can see that I have a group table down here that some students could be gathered around with if I needed to be there to help them. And then the desks I have all organized. It's a picture I took off the internet, but I would have it like that so they could literally work in groups of the 6, or they could just work in 3, or it's easy enough that you could combine tables if you needed 12s. And then there's a computer station, and then all the organizational stuff in the classroom. Organization, back to that. I think it looks like organized chaos. A lot going on in a small area, but it's all hopefully organized so that everything runs smoothly and everybody's taking away as much as they possibly can from it. Then number 5 was some of the common classroom practices at our school. Explain why they are not examples of differentiated practice. The 3 different ones were A, delivering instruction primarily by lecturing. B was grouping students at the start of the year by previous year test scores. And C, giving bonus points for classroom participation. So let's start with A. Lecturing only is not a good strategy for differentiating instruction. Combining lecturing with discussion, questioning, reading aloud, verbal descriptions, pictures or graphics, demonstrations, thinking aloud, acting out, physically building or hands-on projects, or using manipulatives. Lecturing only, I can say firsthand, just makes me want to go to sleep. I think it is the most boring thing ever. I mean, it's nice sometimes to listen and take notes, but I like the idea, if I'm going to be lecturing my students, I'm going to pass out some handouts that have keywords or graphic organizers so that they can fill out while, I'll pause and make sure that everybody is touching on the keywords that I'm saying in the lecture, and just something to keep it going. And then, like I added in there, the demonstrations or acting out or thinking aloud during the lecture, if there's a nice breaking point where the kids can think about some stuff and we can write it down, just something to keep them moving, keep them going, and not just me talking the whole time. And then B, grouping students based on previous year test scores. Last year's test scores are not what the students have learned this year. That it's a completely different world from one year to the next. I think pre-assessments would be more accurate for current knowledge, so that would benefit more as to what they know now and what to build on from here on out. C, bonus points for participation. Obviously, this is not an example of differentiated practice because this will show false representation of the student's actual knowledge and mastery of skills. We could create a higher tiered assessment for bonus points. I mean, you could give harder questions like at the end of for bonus points, but I think you're just trying to find out what they actually know, and by giving bonus points, you're just saying, here, you don't have to know this, and I'm just going to give you these points because you raised your hand. So I think the bonus points should be either not on there at all or used for something else, but not to actually figure out how much they know. And I'd like to give credit to the Ayers Center on the differentiated instruction because obviously I went through that and based most of this off of that one. Thank you.